Hello, wonderful person. This is Chris for the Informed Stoner, and it's Tuesday morning and time for our morning report. This report comes from the dailymail.com. Elite Russian tank brigade suffers catastrophic losses and is refusing to carry out orders after they're repeatedly told to drive to their deaths through infamous Ukrainian-filled crossroads. Yeah, I would refuse to carry out those orders too. That sounds ridiculous. I mean, just look right here. You can see the pockmarks in the ground. I don't know if each of these holes is where mine was at or what, but just look at those explosions. Those are anti-vehicle mines, just obliterating stuff. Russia's elite 155th Brigade is reportedly refusing to advance on Ukrainian's town of Voldar after suffering catastrophic losses at the settlement's mine-laden crosspoint. The armored division appears to have mutinied following orders to drive straight through a heavily fortified minefield dubbed the Corridor of Death for advancing tanks. Voldar I butchered that. Voliter has resisted Putin's tactics for months and nearly wiped out the brigade towards the end of January, now reinforced with American anti-vehicle mines. Just look at these pockmarks. Jeez, that's nuts. Holes everywhere out there. I don't know if each one of those holes represents a mine explosion, like I said, or what, but if it does, wow. Putin's elite Marine Infantry Tank Brigade, which served in Syria and has been in Ukraine since the start of the war, is a shell of its former self, having lost 130 tanks in 3 weeks of repeated advances around the town. Wow, that's just silly. I mean, why? That's insanity at its utmost definition. And is today made up mostly of inexperienced recruits. Well, yeah, if you lost 130 tanks, most of your experienced crews are now gone. So now you're sending your newbies up there. Spokesperson for the Ukrainian military told the Kiev Post the leader of the brigade and senior officers are refusing to proceed with the new senseless attacks as demanded by their unskilled commanders. To storm well-defended Ukrainian positions with little protection or preparation. Ukrainian forces around the town of Volodar have been locked in fierce battles with Russia in the east for months. Yeah, I mean, just this whole war needs to stop anyways. These civilians, they don't deserve to lose everything for no reason. I know that everyone says that they all have their reasons, whatever, but to the person on the ground, to the people in the homes, it's not worth it. The battered mining town is a hellscape of burned out buildings, the artillery bombardment, but Ukraine's use of mines has exacerbated the Russian difficulty through the winter, making a sustained advance. So they can't make it through because they basically been blowing the hell up out of them, and I don't blame them. Blow the hell out of them more. Tell them to go home. Video footage at the end of February showed the moment that the Russian BMP infantry fighting vehicle of the 144th Brigade was destroyed after hitting 2 mines and being hit by an anti-tank weapon. That don't tell you to go home, I don't know what does. Almost the entire 155th Marine Brigade of 5,000 was wiped out near Voldar at the end of January when driving into minefields of the American-supplied remote anti-armor mines. Those mines, I'm sure, do some nasty, nasty damage. Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, I'm sure I messed that one up, has nonetheless told commanders to take the town at all costs. Of course. But the tank division, as well as 2 Cossack units, appeared to have mutinied after repeated futile efforts. Justin Crump, a British military analyst, said of Russians' wave tactics, repeating the same thing time after time and hoping for a different outcome is a sign of madness. Actually, that's insanity, in the literal definition of insanity, right? So, their tactics haven't changed, though. That's the tactics they've used since the World War II, World War I. It's always wave tactics. They just have so many people, but not enough everything else. While the Institute for the Study of War notes that Ukrainian forces are likely now conducting a limited tactical withdrawal from the city of Bakhmut, Ukrainian forces around Voldar remain steadfast in the defense of the city. Well, that's good. The report also noted that the Donetsk People's Republic commander Alexander Khodorkovsky has questioned whether Russian forces would be prepared for a possible Ukrainian counterattack, having, in his words, gotten carried away by Bakhmut and Volodar. Ukraine's use of Soviet-era two TM-62 anti-vehicle mines has been effective in defense of the Ukrainian towns and cities. But the provision of 72,000 U.S. supplied anti-armor mines has significantly reinforced their defensive lines. I bet it has. 7,200. Quite a bit less. But still, 7,200 is that's a lot of mines. And I'm sure there's probably more on the way. Let's be honest here. Able to be scattered from a distance, the RAAMs allow the Ukrainian defenders to lay traps for advancing Russian armor from a distance, without laying them individually and by hand with them. Okay, so the aerial disperse these things. Okay, that's way easier than trying to dig a fucking hole. A freaking hole. Apology. The American RAAM mine involves firing a shell over an open area that scatters a cluster of tiny mines over a given area. Okay. The mine is a 155mm howitzer shell containing 9 separated mines. Ukraine is bound to the 1997 Mine Ban Treaty, which prohibits use of anti-personnel mines. Pictured, a Ukrainian serviceman stands near the mortar on the front line. It's right here. This does not prohibit the use of anti-vehicle mines. Okay, so they can't use anti-personnel mines, but they can use anti-vehicle mines. Understandable, I guess, because anti-personnel mines were, they did kill a lot, but they also maimed a lot, which I'm sure anti-vehicle mines do too, though, so who knows. This does not prohibit the use of anti-vehicle mines or remote-controlled mines. Interesting. Russia never signed the convention, known informally as the Ottawa Treaty, and is not obligated to use use of mines. Blah blah blah. The invaders have used at least 7 types of anti-personnel mines in Donetsk, Kharkiv, Kiev, and Sumy. Human Rights Watch claimed at the end of January that Ukraine had used so-called pedal mines in and around Ukrainian cities of Izium. Contrary to previous reports, the country had not. They noted Russia had used these weapons in even greater numbers than Ukrainian in a much more widespread fashion in different parts of the country. Well, yeah, Russia never signed this treaty, so they're going to use anything that they can get their hands on. I really think that if they had signed it, they probably would still. I don't know. Maybe this is just me. Anyways, what do y'all think? Leave some comments below. Let me know. Start up a conversation. If you liked the video, please drop a like and a subscription, and that would be awesome. And have a great morning.